G'day guys and welcome. My name's Michael. I'm the DeadAussieGamer and welcome to this fucking video. What the hell are we even doing? We are making a video about what has happened with the Archives of Nethys and the licensing agreement that Paizo had with the Archives of Nethys. Now, let me start by prefacing this is a video I have made out of great protest because I have received so many emails and messages. Everyone's asking me about what's going on, and honestly, I'm not a member of any of these companies presently, right? Like, I've worked with Paizo, of course. I know a lot of the Paizo staff there. They're amazing people, talented people, wonderful people that I would work with at the drop of a hat. Archives of Nethys are a group of volunteers who offer so much of their time, their community, and their commitment towards ensuring that the game that I love the most is able to be accessed constantly and reliably from people all around the world. And honestly, the fact that there is something going on here, you know, I want to speak on it both earnestly and as someone who will openly tell you I am biased because I love both of these places very, very much, and I want to make sure that there's as much clarity surrounding what's going on as humanly possible. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, but understand why I'm here, what I'm doing. So first of all, what is going on? What's happening here? So first of all, Paizo, for those of you who don't know, is a publication company that produces games such as Pathfinder and Starfinder. There are other things, of course, in there as well, but I'm not going to go. This isn't a resume. It's not a CV. Okay, Paizo makes these materials, and primarily the materials available by Pathfinder, Starfinder, etc., is part of the ORC, which is an open game license that allows people to be able to utilize the Pathfinder and Starfinder role-playing game systems in order to be able to create third-party content, in order to be able to allow other people to grow and expand the community as they want to, because, you know, honestly, it's just a really good business model, and it's a great way to ensure that a community is constantly supported by the publishers who make it, right? Start with there. Archives of Nethys is a SRD type website, which has a collection of the materials that Paizo has released to date. And up until this point, they have had a ton of support in terms of materials of early release books and stuff like that, artwork that are beyond the community release guidelines and stuff like that, all part of their agreement with Paizo for the license that they currently have, which means that not only do we get a really robust and very cool database for us to use as players and DMs, but also we have a place that is constantly and reliably updating with the rules, the new FAQs that come out, the erratas, all of that. Archives of Nethys is filled with a ton of very talented and very kind people who have constantly made it their mission to be able to provide this to the community. So that's who they are, and that's what's going on. That's what it is. Now, Paizo has very recently ended the licensing agreement that they had with their materials with Archives of Nethys. This does have a series of rolling down effects, which of course affects the archive. Things such as the artwork that they can display on the website, their ability to keep the website up to date based on the Paizo release dates, because they have to find more traditional methods in order to gain the access to the content rather than gaining the early access stuff that they had before. And there's a few more other things here and there. But why did Paizo do this? A lot of people say it's because there's not producing enough royalties, so they cancel the license. But there's way more into it than that. It is not a big company beating down the little guy. It is not Paizo turning around and trying to squeeze a buck out of the Archives of Nethys. As someone who, again, like I said, I know these people. I know how the business has sort of been handling itself in light of recent events and things like that. And I can promise you it is nothing to do with that. But let's talk about what has been said and what is going on before we talk about what I think is going on. So, first of all, let's have a quick read of the first bit of news that hit my desk. And to date, I think this came out first, which was the Archives of Nethys' response to the information that they got, and then publicly announcing that the licensing agreement is ending. Okay, so we come today with some very bad news. For nearly 8 years, we here, the Archives of Nethys, have been a licensed partner of Paizo Publishing and have proudly served this community as an official reference for all Paizo game systems. A few weeks ago, Paizo sent us an email stating that our partnership has been terminated effective on July 24th. We've been told the reason for this decision is that our website has not produced royalties for Paizo. While we cannot go into full details of our licensing arrangement, the general details have been publicly known for many years. Paizo would send us early access to PDFs, as well as well ahead of release, and provide us with their art assets to use on the site. In exchange, our team of volunteers would make sure that the rules and contents of the game make it onto the website in a timely and accurate manner. Lastly, if we generate enough profit, we would pay Paizo a royalty on that money, as licensed partners typically do. Unfortunately, as of the time of receiving this email, we had not made enough profit in a given month to generate any royalties for Paizo as per this arrangement. Just kind of interrupting here real quick. Just so you know, I've said it a couple of times, but I want to reinforce this idea. The Archives of Nethys has a majority of its stuff based on donations, as well as volunteers who have put in so much time and effort in towards keeping the archives put together. It is a huge endeavor, and I mean, one of the big things everyone knows about Paizo is there is tons of materials and tons of content for their Pathfinder and Starfinder games, so it is no small job to keep that website up and running. So I do want to kind of give context to how much effort goes in versus what people talk about when they say a profit. When someone turns a profit, that's a bigger thing. And you know, Archives of Nethys, they don't turn a profit. Not because they're not good at what they do or because they're not putting in a ton of effort, but just it's the nature of how they've been, that's how they run, you know. Okay. Admittedly, Paizo's decision comes as a bit of a surprise to us. It was always known that our business model, for lack of a better word, was reliant on donations and ad revenues to support the website. Our primary expenses have only ever been server rental costs, both for the website and for Elasticsearch, our search engine, and so long as we made enough money for that, we were happy. Everyone who worked for the website is an unpaid volunteer drawn from the Pathfinder Starfinder communities. We've always believed that attempting to monetize the site more aggressively would result in less users, and that our real value to Paizo in the traffic and business we sent in their way. And that our real value to Paizo was in the traffic and business we sent their way. After all, one of the first things often said when pitching the game to a new friend is the rules are free. Sadly, Paizo's decision has been made. With all this said, the Archive of Nethys will continue to support this community. Paizo has even encouraged us to do so under the community use policy instead of a partnership license. This will, however, necessitate some changes going forward. As of July 24th, we will be taking down all artwork that is not compliant with the community use policy. This will be the majority of our artwork, leaving compatible art such as the iconics, religious symbols, and anything else it covers. We have been hosting the original Paizo PRD up until now under legacy.aonprd.com. With the partnership dissolving, we will be taking this site down. We will no longer be receiving books early, so after Bastions of Blasphemy and Dead God's Hand in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, along with the Secrets of the Swarm in Starfinder 2nd Edition, we will have to go back to acquiring PDFs the more traditional way. This means that our ability to release content on street dates will cease. We will still aim to get our content as quick as we can, but will no longer be able to target the street date. We are sure this news is as disappointing to all of you as it is to us, and we wish we could do more to change it. If you have any feedback about this change, we would encourage you to direct it to Paizo in a polite manner, either using their message boards or sending an email to community@paizo.com. Please use our Discord feedback channels for any questions you may have for us. If you'd like to support us, especially now that we will need to purchase the books ourselves, please do so via our Patreon, Nethys, etc. So that was the first message that came out. When this came out, of course, the first thing that a lot of people asked was like, well, why was Paizo just chasing after money? Well, you know, like the licensing agreement for this group of people who aren't generating revenue. Like, why are they doing this? So it goes into a lot more deeper context than that, which I will take when I go over the Paizo responses as well as some of the earlier Paizo blog information we got. But in essence, I want it to be kind of made a little clear here that while the license is going to be gone, we will not be losing the Archive of Nethys, at least presently, in the current situation that it's in. I want to give a huge commendation to the people who are running Archives of Nethys. I know this must be very difficult news, because honestly, if you guys feel even an iota of pride towards the archives the way that I see the amount of effort and love and energy you've put towards that website, it can only be devastating to know that you have to roll things backwards and go from the place where you don't have that licensing, the artwork, and all of that sort of stuff, because what you have made now is truly beautiful, and it will definitely be a shame to see a lot of that having to be dialed back. Being said, I know that Archives of Nethys is still going to be an amazing place for people who want to tap into that accessibility, for sure. So that's what I want to say about that. And it was, for me, a bit of a shock, honestly. Like, I've spoken many times to numbers of the Paizo staff where that topic has sort of come up about, like, how do we feel about the Archives of Nethys and things like that. And there is usually quite a positive response, quite a positive talk about it. So it struck me as confusing at first as to why that would impact them, because there's no way you sign on with a license to someone like Archives of Nethys and expect to turn a massive profit. So that was very surprising for me. But I knew that there was more to it than that. I knew that Paizo weren't just after money. I knew that it wasn't just sort of like a quick cash grab or something like that, or trying to cut ties. It definitely isn't. Because pretty much, like, if we recall when the Wizards of the Coast game license scandal, I say scandal loosely, happened, Paizo was one of the first people to basically go, cool, we are going to set the standard for what is right to do in this situation. They created the Orc license, they moved everything away from Wizards of the Coast, and they took a stand. And that for me is the heart of, like, what I imagine this whole thing to kind of be, which, again, why would they then do this? So then today we got a message from Paizo in response. One thing important to remember while we read this one is that news comes in at different rates and different times. In that first message we got, they'd already been talking with Paizo for a few weeks about this whole thing. So this is the message that came on the 14th, which as of this recording was 2 days ago. The one I'm about to show you now came out today, which is why I'm now making this response video. So let's have a look at that one. Here we go. So this is from the Archives of Nethys. This is from the Paizo blog today. So Archives of Nethys is one of the most beloved and widely used resources in the Pathfinder and Starfinder community. It has helped players learn our game and explore new ideas, build characters, and share their excitement with friends around the world. We are deeply grateful for everything Archives of Nethys have done. The dedication, care, and passion that Archives of Nethys has brought to its work has made it a pillar of the Pathfinder and Starfinder ecosystems. Their efforts have supported countless tables, inspired new players, and strengthened the connection people feel to our worlds. We want to be transparent about why our commercial licensing contract with Archives of Nethys has come to an end. We also want to emphasize that Archives of Nethys will continue offering the same rules access as it does today under the community use policy. 8 years ago, we entered into a licensing relationship with Archives of Nethys. The idea was simple. Archives of Nethys would receive early access to Paizo products and exclusive access to artworks that weren't available under community use policy. And in return, Paizo would receive royalties generated through the expanded use to cover the costs of this special relationship. It is true that those royalties never materialized, but that wasn't the sole reason we decided to end the license. Licenses take resources to manage, lawyers to review and follow up on contracts, finance employees to review and enter royalty statements, and licensing staff to provide assets and other support. Those resources must be balanced against the other business demands. The use of Paizo artwork on the website also created ongoing confusion about what assets are allowed under the community use policy. Archives placed a legal notice explaining that they had a license to use artworks and other elements, but other sites routinely copied these assets and used them for themselves. That created additional work for our legal and licensing team to draft DMCAs and cease and desist notice. Our artwork, maps, worlds, and stories are a core part of Paizo's identity and livelihood. We give away the rules for free under the Orc license, and will continue to do so. And we want to ensure that our policies remain clear, consistent, and fair for everyone who creates community content. Ending this exception allows us to simplify our policies and protect the clarity of our IP, while giving Archives of Nethys the freedom to continue operating under the community use policy. There are a number of very successful projects that continue to thrive supporting Pathfinder and Starfinder using Orc license and community use policy, and we're confident that Archives of Nethys can continue under that umbrella for many years to come. When we first broke the news to Archives of Nethys that we were going to end the license, we offered a marketing agreement to make the change less impactful, but those conversations were not concluded before they chose to publish their notice. We remain open to discussions with Archives about ways to support the site in a manner that is less resource intensive and more protective of Paizo IP going forward. Okay. So a lot of content there and a lot of stuff. This was clearly a media response to, of course, the media that Archives had with their message. Now, obviously, without knowing what that conversation was, it's hard to say he said, she said, yes, no, back and forth, right? But the important thing to note here is that Paizo is spending resources, and Archives of Nethys, and again, full disclosure on both parties, hasn't been paying the royalties and stuff like that. And that's okay. If I know the people at Paizo the way I know them, that was never an issue. That was never a real problem, right? Because over the 8 years that it's been there, Paizo has done so much for creators like myself and other friends of mine and things like that, that supporting the community and supporting their product has been a huge primary boost over trying to grab buck one for things. You know, that's one thing I've always experienced working with Paizo. Archives of Nethys, likewise as well, as I've said, you know, is such a quintessential part of the Paizo experience that it would make no sense to go after them and no one else, and then to sort of say, well, the Orc license is still good, we're just kind of cleaning up house a little bit. So where is this coming from? What is happening? Why has Paizo come down and done this? Well, for those of you who haven't been following more of the Paizo news, Paizo's actually been dealing with the damages of a lot of, a lot of things that have basically unexpectedly cost a ton of money. One of them in particular was issues with a distribution company that has cost Paizo quite a bit. In fact, earlier on this year, they had to endure a few layoffs because of this incident, and they are trying their best to basically pick things up. I have those messages as well from the blog, which I'm going to read as well, just so that you guys can know the platform that existed before the conversation with Archives of Nethys happened. So let's go through that real quick. All right, Paizo restructuring. So this was on June the 9th, which was a little over a month ago. Over the last year, Paizo has been navigating one of the most challenging periods in our company's history. I want to speak to you directly about what has happened, how it has affected us, and the steps we're taking to protect the future of Pathfinder and Starfinder. This is a hard update, but you deserve clarity, and we remain committed to being open with our community. In January of last year, our longtime book trader distributor, Diamond Comics, declared bankruptcy. Diamond handled Paizo products for major retailers like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram, and our agreement with them was based on consignment, meaning we paid to ship the products to their warehouses and were only paid when those products were sold. When Diamond collapsed, the situation became far more complicated. JP Morgan Chase claimed a lien on all products stored in Diamond warehouses, including nearly $10 million of Paizo inventory. We cannot currently access this inventory pending ongoing litigation. Paizo and dozens of other publishers have even been to court since, fighting to reclaim our own products. Diamond's exclusive contract prevents us from immediately moving to a new distributor, even after they stopped selling our books. A judge terminated the contract earlier this year, but Diamond has appealed, delaying resolution. The results have been devastating. Paizo lost nearly 2 million last year and had to write off nearly $500,000 in additional sales covered by the bankruptcy, and book trade sales remain far below historical levels. While sales through Paizo.com and hobby retailers have grown over the same period, they have not been sufficient to offset these losses. We are back in the book trade today with a new partner, but the book market has not yet recovered. We must make difficult decisions now. Layoffs. As part of our efforts to address the core business and adapt to the current business environment, Paizo will be conducting layoffs impacting 12 employees. Acknowledging that layoffs are sometimes necessary, Paizo management and the United Paizo Worker Union establish a clear, fair process for implementing layoffs following these terms. Paizo has given the union 20 business days of notice of position schedules for reduction in force and may propose alternatives. Employees may volunteer for layoffs, otherwise the least senior employees in each impacted business unit is affected. Impacted employees will receive 1 week of severance per year of service with a minimum 2 weeks, and those affected will have 18-month recall rights. These decisions affect people we care deeply about, and we are doing everything we can to support them through this transition. So, obviously, we go over how much that distributor hit. Now, Paizo is not a juggernaut like Wizards of the Coast, where you've got Hasbro backing everything, and you've got like tons of money coming in your way. I mean, I say tons of money, but let's be honest here, it's never tons of money. If you are in the industry, distributing and publishing and stuff like that, it's never tons of money. They don't have it. It's not there. But losing that amount of money, that does make an impact. That is a big hit and a big blow. So much so, it makes perfect sense for the layoffs to have happened. These people have been working together for many years, and these people are working together tirelessly to constantly try and bring us better products and better system additives and stuff like that. But now here in this situation, these are the difficult choices that kind of have to be made so that Paizo can continue rather than continue hemorrhaging resources. It just can't happen. There's still more, so let's keep going. Organized play. Pathfinder Society and Starfinder Society have always been a labor of love, programs we've supported as marketing investments to grow in-person play at game stores and conventions. But the needs of retailers, conventions, and home groups have evolved over time, and the cost of producing scenarios has grown significantly. It is time to evolve the organized play using a tool perfect for transitioning the campaign to its dedicated players, the Pathfinders and Starfinder Infinite Publishing programs. Now, I'm going to kind of gloss over this because this is kind of like just sort of like a guild of people who are producing content for Pathfinder and Starfinder as community-based products and stuff like that, which is very, very cool. There will still be official Paizo materials and stuff like that, so it's basically just going over, like, we're still going to be producing stuff, but we're not going to be producing the society stuff that we did very, very, as frequently as we had before. And now we're going to, give some incentivization for people to produce content of a third-party nature. So that's what that second page is. Lastly, we have the what's next bit. Despite the challenges, there are real reasons for optimism in the medium term. We've partnered with Independent Publishers Group to rebuild our book trade presence. Sales are still recovering, but we are all in a better position than we were in 2025. The new Paizo store is performing better than the old store and will allow us to launch a direct-to-retail program enabling local game stores to order directly from Paizo, including a complete backlist catalog that has often been difficult to source through conventional channels. We expect your favorite local game stores to be able to open a retail account with Paizo within the next few months. These measures will take time to bear fruit. The difficult decisions we're making now will ensure Paizo can continue to thrive in 2026 and beyond. To our customers, freelance partners, and volunteers, thank you. Your passion is the reason these worlds exist. We remain committed to the stories we've built together and to the people who bring them to life. Okay, so that is the earlier blog. So this was the one from earlier this year. Now this is pretty much where I feel this stuff has now come to a head. With the costs of the legal team, with the lack of resources coming in from it, and with whatever costs it has if they were to look at producing and selling more of their IP, such as tokens or artwork or whichever, it becomes harder and harder when obviously people are not following the community guidelines and stuff like that. And Archives of Nethys, not that they're saying that they're doing this on purpose or anything, but Archives of Nethys is a resource that people who are doing the wrong thing are using in order to take advantage of, you know, the agreement that Archives of Nethys was in. It's a sad truth. That's all it is. It's not, you know, beating down something because they're not paying money. It's not, you know, like Archives of Nethys was never going to make enough money to save Paizo from financial destitution single-handedly. It's never going to happen. Nothing is going to make up that kind of a level of money. But getting all your ducks in a row is very important. And as a person who can relate, because, you know, hey, I've seen this happen to other companies before, it's not the end. It's actually just another phase, another chapter. Being grateful that Archives of Nethys had so many amazing years with the license and did such an incredible job with it is my stance on this. I think that they're amazing. I think that they're wonderful people, and I think that they deserve people to be on Patreon, not just to kind of like, you know, afford all of the stuff to basically run this thing, but to actually reward them and thank them for all the efforts that they put in. I hands down believe this. The next phase or the next chapter is not about blaming people. It's not about going, oh, Paizo is evil. Paizo went after Archives of Nethys. It's not about going, oh, Archives of Nethys, they don't, you know, like pay their royalties and stuff like that. It's a small itty bitty thing. They shouldn't complain. It's not about that. It's about you. Whoever is watching this is you. Okay? We need to rally together and support the things that we love and enjoy. We, as the community, can't continue to take advantage of what is free just because we can. Archives of Nethys is amazing, and the fact that you can use it and you have access to it just means that it opens the door for you to be able to utilize these tools. And if you use it as often as you say you do, or you think you might, go subscribe to their Patreon. Help them out. But more importantly, if you want to see Archives of Nethys get back to that gold standard that it was at, that honestly, still, even without art, it still is a gold standard, just saying, right? If you want to see it get back to that, then buy the Paizo materials. Go and buy the books. Buy a PDF of the books. Go and buy the Fantasy Grounds and the Foundry modules and stuff like that. Go and spend the money that these guys are trying very, very hard to use in order to not only support themselves, but to also get many of the staff members who were laid off, try to get them back involved, try to improve on the materials that we love and we are still a part of. It's up to us. It's not them. They're doing their best. They're doing their darndest. They're already hard won into it, right? So join me, okay? And don't hold back. Don't hesitate. If you love this game and if you want to see this game continue to expand and grow and evolve and to be a part of this world, then do it. Help them. Help us. We can do it together. We have the ability. We've got it. 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, however many. Build your collection. Buy the PDFs. It all makes a difference. You like that Harrow deck? Frickin' hell. Get the frickin' Harrow deck. The Harrow deck's amazing. It's freaking awesome. You like crit cards? I got crit cards for days. There's a million things that you can do to support Paizo. There's a million things you can do to support the Archives of Nethys and its volunteers. Just got to do it. Okay? So that's where I'm at. That's how I hope that I've given you guys some clarity. I know I've just basically read shit out, and you guys are not children. You guys are absolutely capable of Googling stuff and figuring things out yourselves. I know that. But I want to tell you guys how much I love this game, how much I love this community, how much I love the people who make the community amazing and engaging and accessible. And all of you are involved, you know. Paizo, Archives of Nethys, sorry you guys are going through such a terrible time. I know it must be awful for both sides, and it sucks that it was something beyond either of your controls, because it sucks when you don't do anything wrong and still shit happens, you know? And we're living in an age where people are starting to, you know, talk about taking video game frickin' disk drives out of consoles. And here we are talking about books and what is the future of publication. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael. I am the Dead Aussie Gamer. This is my place. this is my face. I used to make content. Maybe I'll continue making more if you guys want me to. But I've said what I've needed to say, and if you want to come check me out, I play Pathfinder and Starfinder over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/DeadAussieGamer. So come hang out, check out, you know, talk, hang, we'll do the thing. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay wonderful, be kind to each other, because why the fuck not, it's free. And then, as always, game hard or die trying. Good night, guys. Bye.